Hello world and all who inhabit it, I'm SteviiLove. Welcome back to my channel. I am coming from this as a mom. I want this to be like mother to mother, even though we all know she's not going to watch this. Kat Von D is at a point where if anyone disagrees with her, she's not going to listen to them. And the first thing I want to say to her is, show us your research. Enlighten us, please. As long as it's not the documentary from Netflix and the study or article or whatever that has been debunked at least 25 times, providing or proving the link between autism and vaccines. If it's neither of those two, please show us, because we all deserve to be educated. You know, we really do. It's selfish to keep that to yourself. Honestly, her whole not vaccinating her kid thing, that is super fucking selfish. Not for her kid, not only for her kid, but for everyone around her. So, again, I'm coming from this as a mom. And basically, Kat Von D wants to have an at-home water birth with a midwife raising her kid vegan and not being vaccinated. I'm going to break down what I feel like. The whole water birth at home, personally, I would rather it be in a hospital, but still do a water birth. Like, you do you, though. The whole midwife thing, I've seen quite a few people who are like disputing that, thinking that it's like the worst thing ever. Midwives are literally trained to help women give birth. I had an OBGYN, but I also had a midwife. The midwife is the one who came at 5:30 in the morning, or no, at 1 in the morning, and stuck around till after 5:30 in the morning to help me birth my son. We did it in a hospital, everything went smoothly, and I'm thankful for my midwife. So to the people who are acting like midwives are not as reliable as a doctor, you need to educate yourself, and that's what we're here for, is education. The vegan thing, again, you do you, boo. I don't care. You do what you think is best, even though I don't agree with forcing your own beliefs onto your children. At least certain beliefs. I mean, I don't force my religion on my kid. I don't force my aesthetic on my kid. I only force the things on my kid that every person should have. Not to hurt anyone, not to hurt themselves if they can avoid it, etc. But the whole vegan thing, I get it. I get the appeal to it. But I have a hard time believing that her child being raised vegan and not being vaccinated is going to live a life without repercussions because of her choices. When I had my son, I was not able to produce breast milk because I was a vegetarian, basically. I didn't have enough... I wasn't able to produce breast milk because of my diet. And breastfeeding your kid is super important because of the antibodies and other immune strengthening properties that come with it. There's a reason why with any kind of mammal, it's super crucial to have that mammal drink from its mother within the first 24 hours, because that's where it is the most potent with the things that are going to help an immune system flourish. And I bring this up because, one, again, if breastfeeding is super beneficial, but it's not always possible, which I'm also doing a video about why formula is such an amazing thing. I mean, I shouldn't have to, but there are people who think formula feeding kids is awful and selfish, etc. Let me tell you. Anyways, I bring this up though because certain diets and lifestyles make it harder to produce milk. I am no longer vegetarian. I'm mainly plant-based. Well, not even plant-based, but I'm mainly like avoiding meat and whatnot, but I do eat meat once in a while because I need it. I have an autoimmune disease, and it's impossible for me to go vegan or even be a full vegetarian, so. But that's not relevant. The only thing that's relevant is it might be hard for her to produce enough milk for her child, and that alone makes it even more crucial to vaccinate. But vaccinating your kids, the people, the anti-vaxxers, as they're called, their arguments are, it's better to go all natural and let your kid's immune system develop naturally. Vaccines contain a bunch of chemicals. They're not vegan. Autism. The big pharmaceutical companies are making too much money. It's all about money. It's not about saving lives. These horrible diseases don't exist anymore, so why should we vaccinate? I'm going to tell you why. And I'm trying to go about this differently than all of the videos that are already out there, because there's a million who say it epically and very informatively. But I'm going to come at this from a different angle that I haven't seen yet. So, first and foremost, what was number one? Letting your kid's immune system develop naturally. Look at all the people who were not able to have vaccines because they grew up in a time before. They didn't live very long. It's the same time period that slaves existed, and the same time period where girls were married off when they were 13 or younger to guys that were like way older, and it was just creepy, and there's a reason these things don't happen as often. Just gonna say that. The next one is that it is full of chemicals. Well, everything's a chemical. Our bodies are made of nothing but chemicals for the most part. And the amount of dangerous chemicals found in vaccines is so insignificant that we actually, even on vegan diets, consume more on a daily basis than would ever come from a vaccine. The next one is the next one autism? I'm sorry if I forget one of them. Oh no, the veganism. Sure, it's not vegan, but there's plenty of vegans who know this and still choose to vaccinate because it's very important. Now on to the autism. There is actually no proven link that autism is caused by vaccines, but even if there was, is autism worse than smallpox, polio, measles, etc.? Like, if you think that that is worse than them, you are a terrible, 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 terrible human being. Yes, I just, brought on Bobby Burns for a second, but you are an egregious person if you really think that autism is worse than that, or those, them, whatever. And when you say these kind of things, do you even consider the people who actually have autism? Like, how do you think it makes them feel to read, hear, see all of this bullshit? Because if I had autism and I heard this and people act like having autism was worse than those diseases, I would want to die, I think. I don't know if I could really live with myself knowing that that's what people actually thought of me, because that's basically exactly it. That's how you think of them. Even if you don't think that that is, that's what it is. And that's one of the things that upsets me the most. Another thing that upsets me is you have people in third world countries fighting for vaccines. And then you have people in privileged countries, and I'm not a social justice warrior, don't get that impression, but we are privileged to be in first world countries. We don't choose to be born or anything like that, but we don't choose where we live. We're fortunate for them. We do, but we don't. We were fortunate to be born in medically advanced countries. I just want to say that, that's so selfish of you. The next one is, I think, what is the next one? Is it Big Pharma? I know that I might forget a few, but with the Big Pharma thing, it's actually been proven that the amount of money saved by not having to combat these diseases anymore is 300% more than what is actually made with vaccines. Another one is these diseases don't exist anymore, so why should we vaccinate? Because vaccines are the only reason these diseases don't exist anymore, and they do exist in other parts of the world. The same places that are fighting for vaccines. Another reason why we vaccine is because of herd immunity. There are people who physically cannot, not because they choose, but because they actually can't be vaccinated. And there are even people who are just suffering from vulnerable immune systems who rely on people to be vaccinated so they don't have to worry. And just think of all of the people. If you are someone who's gonna give birth, have a child, and you're thinking about not having your son or daughter vaccinated, think of all of the people that you want to have in your baby's life. If you love them, you will vaccinate your child, because vaccines are not just about you. They're not just about your kid. They're about everyone your kid will ever come in contact with. Let's see, so we did, 1 second. I think I covered all of those 6 points, so I digress. But, like, vaccines are very important. And like I just said, they are not just about you or your child. They are about everyone you will ever come into contact with. And there are people fighting to get rid of these diseases, fighting for these vaccines. And then you have people over here who are fighting to bring back these deadly diseases, basically. And coming from a mother who didn't know if vaccinating my kid was the best idea or not, I'm happy I did. I'm going to give two examples besides how important vaccines were because I couldn't breastfeed. My grandma knew my son for 6 years, and in those 6 years she had a bunch of illnesses, shingles among others, and her immune system had basically been completely compromised. If my son wouldn't have been vaccinated, he would have never got to know her or have those 6 years with her. And I know that those 6 years meant the world to her. She looked forward to seeing him. Same with my grandpa. My grandpa on my mom's side had colon cancer, and he had to go through chemotherapy. So my son being vaccinated made it possible for him to have a relationship with my grandpa. My grandma on my dad's side is no longer with us, but I know for a fact that her having those 6 years with my son made a whole world of difference. Coming as someone who has thought the same way as her, I get it. I really do. But do your son or daughter and the people that you love a favor and get your kid vaccinated. It's the only time you will ever have to go against your beliefs. It is what's best for not only your child, but for everyone. The last thing I really want to say though, or there's 2 things I want to say. First and foremost, I think it's kind of hypocritical coming from someone who is covered in tattoos and tattoos other people for a living, or at least used to fear chemicals all of a sudden. And the second thing I want to say is, if she knew that this was going to cause the amount of backlash that it did, why did she open her mouth in the first place? She seriously said she knew there would be backlash. She knew it would be a controversy, but she chose to say it anyways. You choose what you put out there. You choose what the internet sees. You choose what you write. I chose to make this video. And she still went through with it anyways, and then was like, oh, you disagree with me, or you can prove me wrong. You're blocked. I mean, how fucking stupid can you be? I guess the thing that kills me the most is that she thinks she's so special because she goes against the majority. You're not going against the majority. Like, you're part of it, even if you don't believe you are. And you're nothing special. I'm nothing special. You're nothing special. You're no Tesla. You're no Einstein. Get over yourself, girl. I mean, really. I think that's everything that I wanted to say. Yeah, I think that's everything. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. Let me know why in the comments down below. However, if you are just going to give your comment without even watching my video, I'm just going to delete it, because I'm not going to give you the courtesy of hearing you out if you won't hear me out. And if you're not yet subscribed, tap my face somewhere up top to subscribe and become a part of our epic community. If you are subscribed, tap the bell down below so you never miss when I upload. As always, I'm SteviiLove. Have a fantastic day, week, whatever, and until next time,